to talk about investments. Michael Landsberg, Chief Investment Officer at Landsberg Bennett Private Wealth Management. Thank you so much for being with us. You talk about what most people have in the portfolio. You said most investors continue to be underweight overseas, overweight Mag7. What do you think of that recipe?
Well, I think ultimately we've had a good run for a few years using that recipe. This year, obviously, we started to see that it's starting to fall apart a bit. It's not that you can't own the Mag7, but there's great opportunities out of the country, and most people are grossly underweight that. I think you could do yourself a favor, in your portfolio a favor, by looking at some of those areas.
Okay, we'll get back to the Mag7 in a moment because we have seen a bit of a rebound. But let's focus on the international story. You have several ETFs that you brought to us today. You could take advantage of the growth overseas. How so? You also talked about the all-country world index that you were looking at well. Tell me about the growth that we're seeing elsewhere besides the U.S.
I think what's happened is the last 5 years have been really good for Mag7. Obviously, great growth. But if you look at the next 5 years of EPS growth, the 200 top names in the all-country world index, there's only one Mag7 name. A lot of stuff is not Mag7, international, or emerging. And it seems as though there's opportunities to kind of look at where the puck's going to go, not at where it's been. And so to be able to put some new money or trim some money from Mag7 names and go to some of those other countries where you're getting exposure. Typically, when we see international, we see people owning the same names. It's Taiwan Semi, it's ASML, it's Samsung, SK Hynix, huge correlations to U.S. markets. Mm-hmm. So part of this is also a growth trade, but part of it's diversification. Let's not have everything go down the same days.
I mean, I see the first one on your list. You talk about Poland. Give me a few of these ETFs that you brought. You brought EWK, TUR, EPAG. Let's go through some of these. A lot of folks talk about Japan when they come here. Yeah. Let's start with some of these ETFs that you
I think Poland's an interesting story. It's got a great demographic. Economy's booming. They did almost 3.6% GDP last year. And what I like about the stories is there's zero exposure if you buy kind of the big the Vanguard or the Schwab, the all-world index. What happens is they've got virtually no exposure to Poland. So not only getting growing areas, growing economies, growing stocks, there's no exposure that you can get anywhere else besides these. You can't buy these ADRs. And so we like that as a story. It's a growth, growing. The economy's doing quite well. Another one's Belgium. Same kind of story. You've got growing economy, virtually no exposure on these major indices. When I looked at the European index, those are both less than 2% of the European-only index. When you take it to the world, you're getting no exposure. They're doing better than the U.S., but also from a risk standpoint, you're getting diversification away from the tech play.
You also had Turkey on there. What percentage of Turkey being, you use TUR for that, what percentage should people have? I mean, we talked about how it was underweight. You said, should they be more aggressive? I mean, how much should they be putting overseas and how do they diversify it? Should they try and buy different ETFs like what you're suggesting? When
we look at the international, kind of the all-world index, it's 64% U.S., 36% international. I'm not saying anyone's going to be getting a 36% anytime soon, but most of the major brokerage firms, when you see their data, their clients are 6 to 8%. Mm-hmm. So if you look at it, like our clients are between 20 and 25%. That's our goal.
Right.
They're not going to be all of these ETFs. What we do in our international portfolio is we buy the international stocks, the Taiwan Semis, the ASMLs that we can get that big exposure to, the Siemens Energies of the world. But then we look and say, where can we add ETFs? Maybe 15 to 20% of the portfolio that's not going to be exposure they're going to get anywhere else, whether it's Poland, whether it's Peru, Chile, Colombia. Those are the names. We've just added the Philippines. Again, growing economies with not any exposure you're going to get to other places, we think is valuable because international, the correlations in just big names are higher and higher and closer to 1 than they've been because it's been tech. I mean, that's really what's done it is we've been in an AI or non-AI environment. So I think you've got to look at non-world AI to get exposure.
Interesting. EPHE would be the Philippines, one that you mentioned there. We had Switzerland on there. You have China, Turkey, Belgium, Poland, some that we spoke of. What about the Mag7 here at home? That belongs in a portfolio as well, you said. What are your thoughts on the recent rebound we saw on tech overall? Some of the hyperscalers, it's okay to have CapEx spending as long as you're showing some ROI, and we've seen that. Some of your thoughts on some of the Mag7 names or Mag7 as a group here?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, they're some of our biggest positions. The difference that we have is we rebalance. So I first bought NVIDIA January 8th of 2019. We've had it for a while. We've had Broadcom for 11 years. We just have a tendency, we want to rebalance and not have them become 8 and 10% of the portfolios, just from a risk standpoint. So we think you could still own those. Obviously, growth has been important. Their growth is slowing. It's still very, very strong. But there's parts of that Mag7. I think you want to look at them not as a group. You want to look at them individually and say, okay, where are the winners going to be? Obviously, I think NVIDIA continues to win. And some of the other ones are a little bit harder to be able to gauge. And we saw that with CapEx. Some of the companies announced CapEx discipline and got rewarded. Some of them didn't. So it's a tough environment there. I think you've got to own a lot of those names. But at the same point, the diversification from some of those AI adjacent names, I think, is just as valuable.
Diversification important. How are you feeling overall? Bullish, bearish?
Bullish. I mean, if I look at this, the seventh quarter of a row, double-digit earnings growth, and we're getting big earnings growth this quarter. It's been amazing.
Yeah. All right. Michael Landsberg, thank you so much. Chief Investment Officer, Landsberg Bennett Private Wealth Management. Thank you, Michael. Good to see you.